Another interesting question: how comprehensive were the elements that went into the making up of the British Bata Company? The British Bata Company was born, I suspect, from about 1938, when the Nazis invaded Czechoslovakia. So the head office operation that was central to Bata worldwide became non-functioning, couldn't communicate properly and couldn't control factories in other areas. So it was important that those that could set up their own sort of mini Bata network to control their own areas to the master plan, so to speak. So we've got the factory because that came in before the war. We've got the labour force that had been trained by the original trainers from Czechoslovakia, of whom one or two stayed actually during the war and stayed on. So they were well entrenched with the Bata way of running a factory and producing shoes. The raw materials, well, they were available certainly in 1938. The Bata got their own tannery going in the Midlands so that the leather could be produced in England from UK sources and brought down to East Tilbury for cutting and turning into shoes. So in fact, that part of the equation was quite okay. The retail side, well, they had their 280 or thereabouts retail outlets in the UK, which were all fed with their product from the Bata complex at East Tilbury. They ran their own fleet of lorries. The railway company in those days did not have a station at East Tilbury. There was one a few miles away, but not actually at East Tilbury. And so to get the manpower into work, apart from those who lived in the Bata village, they had to have a fleet of buses. Some had bicycles, some walked, and after a while the railway company admitted that they should build a station, which is now East Tilbury. Mr. Bata wanted to call it Bata East Tilbury, but the railway company decided that wasn't such a good idea, so they just called it East Tilbury. Not to be outdone, Mr. Bata put a huge advertising sign next to the railway station, shining over the fence, that said Bata East Tilbury. So there was absolutely no doubt for people on the train that's where they had to get off. So we've got all the elements really to run the business. The fact that head office was now under Nazi control, one might say, or occupation, didn't hold up the production at Bata. Now, at East Tilbury. Now, when we get to the Second World War, 1939 onwards, of course, the Bata Company would have been producing boots for the army, because it was one of the largest production lines for shoes and boots in the country. So they would be doing military and government contracts through the Second World War. Lots of the manpower, literally, and I do mean manpower, were actually away serving in the forces. So the women folk stepped forward, and many more women went into the production line at East Tilbury through the Second World War. Incidentally, there is a war memorial there, which clearly is only people on it from the Second World War, there being no one living there during the First World War. There's 80 odd names on the war memorial who were employees of British Bata and who unfortunately lost their lives.